Hey, I'm Shelley Ferguson, and I'm the host of The Movement Calls. This is our very first episode, and on our show, we'd like to talk with guests about how music affects society and politics. We know that music brings a certain awareness that drives us to expand our mindset as it relates to what's going on in our society. And subject matter is inclusive of crime, violence, laws, and money. Today, our very first guest is Thomas Clark, also known as TC on sax. And yes, he is a saxophonist, and I'm very fortunate to have him on my show. I'm a lucky girl for that. I'd like to introduce you to TC. Thomas, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Uh, thanks.
Sure. Let's go. Well, you've already introduced me as TC on sax, Thomas Clark. Um, and I exist on all platforms with my new album I just released called Solo, that's titled. Um, you can find on all platforms, Spotify, Instagram, uh, all YouTube Music. You can find it anywhere. But the thing that got me into music was, as a kid, I started out playing in the church, you know, made the song, make the sax, make a sound. And from there it grew, went to Duke Ellington. And now I'm at a space where I would like to release some of what my life experiences are in music. And that's where I'm sitting right now.
Okay, I like that. Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, I've actually purchased the project, and I got it off of Amazon.
Okay.
But I've heard it, or I watched it on YouTube Live. I've also seen it on Spotify. So I'm very happy for you to be able to get involved in music as you are again finding yourself in music at this particular time in your life. So again, this is a part of what I believe your album is built around what's occurred in your society of your own life. And I know that the songs that you chose, or even the ones that you've written, like you said, have come from your life experiences. And that's an awesome way for you to share it through your gift of the saxophone. But I'd like to ask you, TC, can you tell me about how you feel that music helps us to be more reflective of ourselves and society?
Mm. So, not to sound glitchy or anything, but music is the language for everyone. It doesn't require you to know how to speak a different language. It requires you to listen with a very careful ear and express your feelings through the music. Everyone has a favorite artist, a favorite song, right? Whatever that favorite song is, typically, if you like it, it's something that you can relate to. So this is where I kind of go in and out of this first project. Even it was a project that was built on an emotional space that I was in. So music is very important. Just for those simple measures, you can speak. I can speak to someone who has no English in their vocabulary, but
Mhm.
they'll understand exactly what I'm playing.
Yeah. They'll be able to have that feeling, and you'll make a connection for sure.
Yes.
So, can you tell me what was the first song you recall that inspired you to be introspective about what was going on in your life and in society? But I'd also like to just offer this. For me, the song was "Strange Fruit." I was watching Billie Holiday. I guess Diana Ross was playing Billie Holiday in a movie. And that song "Strange Fruit" came on. And as they were passing by a group, or they were driving on to their next tour, and she started to see bodies hanging in the trees. And when you listen to the words of that song, it helps you to realize that life for Black people in this country has been tumultuous at times. We were hung just for the color of our skin. We did not, the same rules of law that were provided or given or written, quote unquote, for everyone excluded us as a people, and we lost our lives for trying to be free.
Mhm.
And that's free to even be who you are right now as a saxophonist. Me to be able to sit here and have this conversation with you. But again, can you tell me what song may have given you an ability to be introspective about what was going on? And tell me about that, please.
Sure. Since I'm from Washington D.C., I'm inspired, I should say, by D.C. native artists, the strongest. Uh,
Hmm.
but that doesn't take away from anybody who doesn't live in D.C. But if I'm going to point something out, I'm always going to represent where I'm from. And the very first person who got me into understanding, what music was as a kid was like from Washington D.C. I should say,
Hmm.
Marvin Gaye.
Yes.
Marvin Gaye, Donny Hathaway. You know, the list
Howard
can
Eubanks.
go
Yeah.
on and on. Yeah, look on and on. And the newer guys, the Kenny Lattimores of life. When Stacey Lattisaw was doing her thing, Johnny Gill got up in New Edition. So I like the DC native artists. I'm not promoting Washington D.C. I'm promoting the fact that these are the people who I can relate to. They were
Yeah.
in my neighborhoods. We went to
Yeah.
school together. We grew up together. We
Yeah.
understood the same kind of streets and
Yeah.
buildings and neighborhoods, you know. And so yeah, so Marvin Gaye would be one of the first. Yeah, that would be him.
That's pretty cool. And on that note, I have a cousin who went to a school in DC. I'm also from Washington, DC, and I kind of feel very much the same about the influence of music here. But tell me, or to see if I could go back to, I want to ask you another question.
Yes, sir.
Um, as a saxophonist, what do you intend your audience to get from your music? And how do you want them to feel?
That's another good question. Well, the reason why this project became so important in my life at this point is because I had a really good friend. His name was Maurice Brown. He was one of the most solidest brothers that walked the planet. So, but Mo was famous in his own right. He was a professional cameraman for sports. And if you ever watched a baseball game from out of Washington, D.C., a fight that HBO may have put on, a movie that Robin Williams might have been in, his list goes on and on and on. Matter of fact, he's Ocho Cinco, if you know who that is, football
Yes.
player. If you he's a part of Ocho Cinco's number one touchdown celebration. And if you watch ESPN, not to not promote your show, watch this one as well. You watch ESPN and Ocho counts from 10 to 1 in his favorite touchdown celebration. He says, I ran into the stadium and I ran to the end zone and I talked to the cameraman and I told him I'm going to catch a touchdown in your end zone. And when I do, you got to watch it. I'm not going to give up the punchline. It
Oh
was the
man.
number one. Just look it up. Google
Okay.
it.
All right. I think we could do that. So, but with your new project, um, let me ask you, what's your favorite song from your new project? If you have one or two, maybe your top three. Do you have anything?
So my favorite song is the song that I actually dedicated to to Mo. It's
Mm.
called "A Friend in Mo," because he left us and he went to go see the big guy, hang out with him for the rest of his life. His spirit is God. And so I wrote a song called "A Friend in Mo," and it basically depicts the relationship value that we have with each other. As a matter of fact, there's a line in there that says, "When I go crazy, he's the guy that basically stopped me from jumping off the shelf.
Wow.
I can always lean on this cat, you know, and he would listen to my every word and let me say it all, let me get it all out. If I'm upset, he would let me beat him up, and he would beat me up a lot, But it's good when you have somebody in life like that. So A Friend in Mo would be my favorite song, right?
Okay.
But there's some killers on there, man. Some killers on there. Some killers on there. You got to download that thing. If they hadn't downloaded TC on SAX, just get it.
Yeah. I actually do like the the title song solo,
Mm.
um, but also Ready or Not. Definitely, because it gives a tribute to home.
That's DC
Say
based.
goodbye, gotta come right. That's a tribute to home. So thank you very much for doing that.
Yeah.
But is there is there a is there any time, well, as a matter of fact, you know what? If you can, would you mind just giving us a little taste of what you're working on with that Marvin Gaye song? What's going on? Could you do that for us?
Oh, okay.
I
Let's
see you
see.
got your
Hold
sax on.
on. The
So
saxophone.
while
See if
it's
I can
on,
get my
I
track together.
better
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. Let's see what's happening. That's a little bit.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. That was a good teaser. A really nice teaser. Thank you so very much.
Oh man, you're
Thank you for
welcome.
that. All right. Well, I'm Shelly Shell, the host of the Movement Calls, and I appreciate you all for being here today. Have a great one. Take care.